Iconic art style, epic battles, and sexy buff dudes that will make you question how straight of a man you really are. This, my friends, is the wonderful world of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. The series has been out for a little bit under 40 years and it spans over 9 different manga parts with different genres, powers, and sexy dudes. This March 19th, we're finally getting the anime adaptation for Part 7, Steel Ball Run, more than 3 years after the last anime came out and more than 15 years since the actual manga ended.
Oh, but Warland, I don't remember anything from parts 1 through 6.
Don't worry, because Part 7 takes place in a completely different universe from the first 6 parts, so no previous knowledge is actually needed. Nevertheless, it is always good to brush up on that JoJo knowledge before any part comes out. And that is why for this and the next 5 videos, I will be recapping all of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure parts 1 through 6 for you guys. If you skipped any parts, you're a little bit stupid, but this series of videos is for you. So today, Warland brings you JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Phantom Blood. Our story begins in England, 1868. There has been a horrible stagecoach accident on the side of a cliff with multiple casualties. This is found by a slimy dude named Dario Brando, who immediately rushes to loot the corpses and the wagon. Amongst the luggage, he finds this mysterious stone mask inside a case. Oh, what a mysterious mask, yes. Suddenly, he gets jump scared by the husband of the couple that was traveling on the wagon, George Joestar, who is the only survivor along with his infant son. Silly little George immediately believes that Dario Brando is helping them instead of looting them, so he tells him, "Thank you, kind stranger. I have no proof that you were helping me, but I also have no doubts, so I am eternally indebted to you." Dario Brando, being the slimy bastard that he is, takes advantage of this opportunity and holds on to that promise for many years to come. Time passes and George's son grows up to be a healthy, kind-hearted kid called Jonathan Joestar. Bro is the sweetest kid in the world. He loves playing with his dog and defending the girl he likes from bullies. He's just a cutie patootie. At the same time, we see Dario Brando, who is now a sick, bitter man who mistreats his son, Dio Brando. "You gotta get your money up, boy," says Dario Brando before kicking the bucket. Dio spits on his father's grave because he hated him, and then he sets out to the Joestar mansion to secure the bank. Dio arrives to the mansion, making it clear from the very first interaction that he is all about aura farming. Our beautiful boy Jojo receives him with open arms and introduces him to his dog, which he loves so much, and goddamn! Dio starches the shit out of the poor animal.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
Jonathan is ready to square up, but he is stopped by his father. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the very beginning of one of the longest and most iconic rivalries in anime. Dio Brando versus the Joestars. Different to his father, Dio is a very intelligent and calculated man. He presents himself as an educated and polite kid to his new foster family. However, as different as he may appear, his motives are also to loot, pillage, and take advantage of all the things that the Joestars are giving him. In short, bro is a menace, and I'm going to list out all the stuff that he did a little bit fast so we can get to the main plot of this story. Dio humiliates Jojo in front of his father by getting better math results than him. Dio boxes Jojo and opens fire on our poor boy in front of all his friends, causing his social death. Dio kisses the girl that Jojo has been trying to rizz up this whole time and steals her first kiss. And after Jojo fights Dio about this, Dio incinerates Jojo's poor dog. This fucking guy just needs to be stopped, bro. Unfortunately, as Jojo is beating up Dio for this, they spilled blood in the stone mask that I told you about before. And we see that the mask has some sort of special abilities, which will come to play later, okay?
Okay.
Several more years pass and things are going pretty well, until they start going pretty bad. Jojo and Dio have grown together as brothers and appear to have built a beautiful brotherly bond. But in reality, Dio's rat bastard ass has been plotting this whole time to take over the Joestar estate. He microdoses George Joestar with poison while making him believe that this is actually medicine. One day, Jojo finds the letter that Dario Brando wrote to George to send over with Dio, in which he mentions that he is sick with the same symptoms that George is presenting. Jojo, who thankfully isn't stupid, realizes Dio has been poisoning his father, and after confronting Dio about this, he goes out to London to test Dio's medicine to prove that it is actually poison and get that man behind bars. And at the same time, Dio realizes that it is now or never to carry out his plans. Meanwhile, in England, Jojo is unable to get a clear test report on the poison, and as he's coming back, a bunch of goons are out to get him, but Jojo fights them with the power of love. One of these goons is very peculiar, and after being defeated by Jojo's gentlemanly ways, he realizes that the gooner life is not for him, and he decides to become his companion. And this is how we unlock our first ever JoBro, Robert E.O. Speedwagon. On the other side of town, Dio is testing his new plan to take out Jojo. He plans to put the stone mask on him so that the mask will kill him. But when he tests this on a level 1 crook, he becomes a vampire. Dio, who unfortunately is not stupid, realizes this is the perfect opportunity to transcend mankind and rise to the top as a vampire. As both brothers make it back to the mansion, JoJo confronts Dio for poisoning his father. He and Speedwagon have also captured the guy that sold Dio the poison, and his father is also listening on the other side of the room with the police. JoJo has won, and Dio's plan has been ruined. Oh, but they flip out when Dio makes his final move and attempts to stop JoJo to use his blood for the mask. And in a final act of paternal love, George Joestar takes the hit and dies.
No. Wait.
Dio uses the mask on himself and becomes a vampire, and since it's nighttime, Dio is pretty much invincible at this point. But JoJo's courage knows no limits, and he squares up once again to finally defeat Dio. After burning the entire house down, JoJo is finally able to impale Dio in a statue and leave him there to burn. JoJo has defeated Dio. But after the fire dies, the poison seller tries to retrieve the mask, which allows Dio to suck his blood and survive. The next day, JoJo is nursed back to health by Irina Pendleton, the girl he always liked, whose first kiss was stolen by Dio. Together, they go back to the mansion to go through the rubble, and they meet this colorful man called Will A. Sebely. Sebely tells JoJo that Dio and the mask are still out there, and to defeat Dio for good, JoJo must master the art of Hamon. Hamon is a breathing technique that lets power go through stuff, just like this little frog. This way, JoJo will destroy Dio's internal organs and finally win. Sebely tells JoJo that he was the one who originally found the mask in Mexico several years ago, and he has been hunting it down to destroy it ever since. At the same time all of this is happening, Dio retires to England, where he is using his plot-advancing vampire powers to build an army of gooners to take over the world and defeat JoJo. Once the boys catch wind of this, they head out once and for all to destroy Dio. JoJo is now fitted up and has almost mastered Hamon in less than a day. Once they arrive, they face multiple challenges from Dio's goons. The boys are attacked by Jack the Ripper, who is now a zombie, but JoJo uses this fight to totally master Hamon as he punches him through a wall and melts his brain. After this, the boys finally arrive to Wind Knight's lot, where Dio is supposed to be hiding. In here, JoJo is led to a cliff by a boy named Poco, and just like that, night falls, and JoJo and the lads once again come face to face with Dio for an insane battle.
It's payback time.
Sebely jumps first into battle and tries to use Hamon to destroy Dio, but Dio freezes his veins and defeats Sebely almost instantly. Without skipping a beat, JoJo jumps in to save his master, but Sebely ultimately sacrifices his limbs to save his student. "Aight, I'm bored of this shit," said Dio, as he spawns 2 zombie knights to dispose of the boys. JoJo fights hard to defend Sebely, Speedwagon, and Poco for a bit, while Speedwagon shows us why he's the most base Part 1 character, by heating up Sebely's frozen arm with his bare man boobies.
What the hell?
And while this happens, JoJo channels all the trauma he's been through to go Super Saiyan and fight the 2 zombie knights. For a second there, it seems like JoJo has been defeated as he sinks into the lake, and Dio dips. But in reality, JoJo fights the zombies with his insane battle IQ and defeats the first of them with the Tok no Jutsu. The second zombie is too much of a gooner to talk to, so the boys escape by making a huge glider with Hamon. Unfortunately, the zombie jumps on them and they crash into a castle. It seems like JoJo is about to be defeated by the zombie after he was hung to the ceiling, but the kid manages to let Sebely into the fight, and now it is time for Sebely to redeem himself. We get a flashback of the days when Sebely was training Hamon for the first time with a man named Ton Petty. And since we got a flashback, according to anime law, I'm sure a lot of you guys know what will happen to him next. Sebely fights the zombie with all his might, but ultimately gets ripped in half and dies. Goodbye, Will A. Sebely. Rest in power, King. Thankfully, just seconds before finally kicking the bucket, Sebely overloads JoJo with all of his own Hamon energy, and now JoJo's man boobies grow so large that he is finally able to defeat the zombie, and thus avenging his master. I know I've said this plenty of times throughout the video, but now it is actually time for JoJo to go defeat Dio. So JoJo, Speedwagon, and Poco head to the town that Dio is using to create his new army of zombies. On the way there, they meet 3 more bizarre characters: Dyer, Straizo, and Tom Petty, all allies of Zeppeli. Now the squad is ready for the most intense, insane, bizarre final fight. Things go pretty badly at first for our boys. Dio takes out Dyer and easily counters all of JoJo's attacks. But JoJo locks in and finally gives Dio the finishing blow.
You thought!
Once and for all, I hope, gives Dio the finishing blow. Dio Brando is now dead. And JoJo breaks to tears as he finally defeats his brother. Or so we f***ing thought.
So that was a fucking lie.
Like my mom would say, the devil looks after his own, because before his body is completely dissolved, Dio chops off his head and is preserved by his lackey. Time passes and JoJo and Irina are now happily married, and they embark on a ship for their honeymoon trip. Look at how cute they are. Look at our boy finally being happy with his wife. Isn't it beautiful? Well, fuck you for believing that JoJo would ever get to be happy, because Dio and his goons take over the ship once again and corner JoJo into a fight to save Irina's life. JoJo realizes that this will be the end for him and shares one last depressing kiss with his wife before giving his everything to stop Dio's plans and save Irina. In the end, JoJo is able to pin down Dio's head and say goodbye to him as he prepares to die with his rival. And while Dio tries to persuade him to let go, JoJo passes away. Goodbye, Jonathan Joestar. Rest in power, King. The ship explodes and leaves nothing behind, and we end the part with Irina emerging from a coffin with a baby that she was able to save. The end. And with that, my friends, we close the very first part of JoJo's. Even though it is the least popular part, I think this has some beautiful moments, and I think that Jonathan Joestar is an amazing JoJo. Let me know in the comments how part 1 ranks for you compared to other JoJo parts, and please click the like and subscribe button if your heart tells you to do so. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in part 2.
Get back!